It's Dr. Julie coming to you with another Dr. Julie Mission Monday nudge of encouragement. I hope you're all doing well. Today, we are going to continue working along the lines of a new concept that Dr. Ashley and I introduced into our community vis-a-vis our video cast on May 5th, and then again on May 13th, where we answered some of your questions related to the concept of being a highly sensitive person. Now, if you haven't watched those video casts, I really encourage you to go back into our archives and watch it. I think you'll probably relate to many of those concepts. You can also take the self-test that we posted in the feed after our May 5th video cast. That is a helpful tool to see if, in fact, you are a highly sensitive person. If you did not meet the threshold to be considered highly sensitive person, but you can still relate to a lot of the traits that it talks about, please allow yourself to consider that this is something that is probably very important for you to be able to identify and ultimately work within yourself to be able to wholly support yourself in a way that is healthy so that you don't fall back into maladaptive coping behaviors, most importantly by using food. Okay, so what is a highly sensitive? Well, first of all, just to recap, we know that it's about 20% of the population that qualify as being highly sensitives. Dr. Ashley and I know that in our population of emotional and binge eaters, we tend to see it more around 85 or 90%. Again, this is not a negative trait. This is biologically based. It's something that's handed down in your genetics. And there's a lot of positive qualities associated with being a highly sensitive. I'm a highly sensitive. Dr. Ashley is a highly sensitive. Our children are highly sensitives. They're really wonderful traits, but we want to help educate you to be able to work with yourself as opposed to judging or denying yourself, which is just going to overwhelm you with these traits. Okay, so please take that test. If you can, watch the video cast. And today's Dr. Julie Nudge of Encouragement is going to be to pick one or two traits that you are self-identifying with, likely through that self-test that we posted regarding the highly sensitive person, and to work with yourself along the lines of one or two of those traits. Okay, so what do I mean? Well, one of the traits that's very common if you are highly sensitive is that you can get overstimulated by too much sensory input. So I know that when my kids were young and we would go to Chuck E. Cheese, that was just like the most horrific thing that I could put myself through. I did because I love my children and they wanted to go there. But I would need to go outside probably about every 20 to 30 minutes to just kind of step outside, get out of all of the noise and the chaos, all the buzzing stuff going on, and just all that hyper stimulation that just would over arouse my system. And I would go outside, I would debrief and just kind of like calm down a little bit. And then I would go back in for another 20 or 30 minutes. Okay. So that's one of the ways that we work with ourselves without judgment, saying I can identify that too much stimulation just grates at my nerves. I mean, it just literally is like painful to my neurological system. So I'm going to have fun with my children. I'm going to do this in support of them, but then I'm going to give myself permission to go outside and calm down. Okay. Another trait of a highly sensitive person is a rich internal life that tends to be quite emotionally based. So if you're working with yourself with this trait, the first thing we want to do is not judge ourselves and then give ourselves plenty of time where we can kind of just be with yourself, be with your thoughts, and do something that actually feels calming and supportive. That might be doing an art project, with some of those internal feelings. That might be journaling, okay? That might be just, taking yourself on a nice walk or sitting out in the back and allowing yourself to embrace that rich inner life. without judgment and giving it time and space. Okay, so these are a couple examples of traits that maybe you've identified within yourself that I'm going to ask you to be conscious of over this next week. Okay, and to lovingly and with self-support notice these traits, don't judge these traits, and then say, how can I work with myself to support myself given these traits? And then I want you to step in and I want you to do that. Okay. And that, of course, is with the ultimate goal, number one, of being kind and respectful and loving towards yourself. But if you do this in a healthy, direct manner, your system's not going to get overwhelmed, and it's not going to then have you turn to maladaptive behavior, which for most everyone in our community is through the use of food and overeating. Okay, so that's how the dots are connected. There's traits within myself that I'm recognizing is an inherent part of myself. I am going to not judge. I am going to instead work with myself. I'm going to acknowledge it. I'm going to support myself and meet that need so that that need is met in a healthy way so that I don't have to turn to food. Okay, so your Dr. Julie nudge of encouragement, identify one or two traits that speak to you within this highly sensitive profile, and then step in and support yourself lovingly, conscientiously, and experience how that feels, okay? And see if it actually correlates with decreasing your use of overeating as a way to calm your system down and meet those needs. Okay, everyone, I look forward to seeing you during our next follow-up video cast on Wednesday. You take care, and I look forward to seeing you all then. Bye-bye.